See, authority, power, and politics. So how these are interrelated and in how they influence each other and how they are important. That is what we are going to discuss. The authority. So the most important term, this politics, is making all this interrelated. Authority, power, and politics are interdependent in the sense that politics, whether of the specifically governmental kind, political parties, pressure groups, etc. The economic kind, bureaucracies, organization of the workplace into social hierarchies based upon status, etc. And interpersonal kind, relation between males and females, children and adults, and youngsters and old age, and so on and so forth. So it involves the exercising of authority and power. What is authority? Authority in the sense ability of a decision making or allowance for decision making for a particular person in a particular context of the organization. So what is the difference between this authority and power? Authority and power are terms quite often used interchangeably or synonymously sometimes, but they are quite different. So the specific differences are given here. Authority is legally enforced and is derived from level of position in an organization. Authority is depending on the level of the organization structure where the person is sitting. Power, however, is individual and independent and originates from charisma and social positioning of a person. You look in our PNG, we can see in the villages, I heard, I'm not sure, please correct me if I'm wrong, big man concept. In a village, one person who does have a control over wealth and, and also sometimes I don't think the wealth will be playing or making that fellow as a big man, but sometimes the respect gained by the person from the villagers and all villagers may be respecting due to certain reasons, whatever it is. Clan leaders sometimes you can see. Authority is formal, based upon superior and subordinate relationships. Authority is always a formal structure, organization, supervisor and a foreman and a manager, and likewise different levels in the organization structure will be described, and each level does have a limit of decision making ability and directive ability. That is it is inbuilt in the position. Whoever comes into the manager's level, that person is required to take that level of decisions in the organization. So that means a supervisor worked as supervisor for 10 years and after that promoted as manager, immediately the supervisor role will be changing into managerial decision making role. That is authoritative, and authority in the sense always formal system, but power is informal and based upon individual understanding. Because in the organization, you may find different peer groups and informal groups. Suppose football lovers may be there. They all sit together and discuss about football or rugby. Some people may be interested in current political scenario and they sit together and they discuss about current political scenario. So within that, those who exhibit high skills and voracious knowledge over that part of topic discussion, all the others will respect that fellow as a leader for them. That automatically leadership, the person becomes as a leader because of his vocal power of abilities to debate and discuss and explain various things. These all comes, that is informal aspect. Since authority is related with position in an organization, it has limited scope and is confined to organizational structure, whereas power is linked with an individual and transcends boundaries, because it is not restricted to be there. Because if that fellow is a leader, he may be leader in the family, he may be leader in the colony, he may be leader in the clan, he may be leader in the particular place, whatever it is. Authority is just and applied equally wherever power may be, whereas power may be used indiscriminately. In authority, it is an organization given by the organization for that position. He cannot use it indiscriminately, but power may be indiscriminately used. The term authority can be defined as the ability of an individual to seek compliance to the regulated instructions of the supervisor. This is very important one. It refers to the formal rights inherently available to a manager to give orders and see their compliance. So not only just giving orders, but also he must see the compliance, whether the people received that instruction complied with or not, which includes traditional authority. This form of authority rests on an established belief in the sanctity of immortal traditions, legal authority, legally bound, and also charismatic or charismatic authority. This form of authority has its genesis in an individual's personal charisma and qualities. Sometimes some persons will be emerging as a great leader because of outspoken personality. So most of the times leaders, they become with their own personal trait, not just by showing something else from outside. Characteristics of authority. Authority resides in the position and is individual independent. It doesn't matter whether X is there or Y or Z or there in the manager's seat, but that seat itself is powerful, not the person alone or person itself. So that is the reason, very important point the people forget nowadays in the politics. Whatever the country you take, almost everywhere the same things are prevailing. I'm not talking particularly about PNG or India. You see, the fellow who becomes a minister, for example, and that fellow thinks that I am the minister for lifetime to this country. No. You see, very simple, best example in front of us. How come they say, Americans say we developed and we are an advanced country, which is ruled by certain people who does not agree to come down or step down from the position, even though he was severely beaten by the voters. American president. So that is authority. When he is into the office, that is limited for 4 years. That's all. After 4 years, if you are really re-elected, you may be president for next 4 years, not for lifetime. It is not China or Russia like countries where the premier himself can declare that I am lifetime president of the country. No, that is not possible in the democratic process. In the same way, formal process of the organization, authority depends on the position, not just merely by the person independent, because person is irrespective of the taking the decisions. The position makes them respectable to take the decisions. Nature of authority, traditional, legal, charismatic, and determines the nature of structure of the organization. Authority is in proportion to level of in an organization. Again, ideally, there is a positive correlation between the authority and the degree of competence. That is very important. Who gets authority? Who gets into that position in the organization structure? Who gets into the position of that organization structure? Who are competent enough to be reaching there? Of course, there are some exceptions for public services in the various countries like India, Pakistan, or even in PNG. Just because of the experience, that fellow may be escalated into next level of the organization. That is a different issue, of course. What is power? Power involves the rule by the few over the majority. This is important. It is legitimated through the dynamics of political processes, both in terms of structural and interpersonal relationships. By power is mean the ability of individuals or groups to make their own concerns or interests counted, even where others resist it. What is exactly happening today in our country? Tussle between two groups is happening, and there are two groups and two camps are formed up, and they are trying to become, of course, who is right, who is wrong. That is a purely political issue. We are not interested to get into that because we have already so many issues for our own head to break. There is no need of bringing that another problem and break our head. Not necessary. But the thing is, who is going to win? That depends on again how best they influence others. That is a different story again. Power sometimes involves the direct use of force. This is what yesterday happened, and people, Belda Nama is saying, those people sent the police to kidnap my supporter and took there, and again that person become minister. That is a different issue. This kind of issues. So power, normally it happens. It is not particular for PNG alone. There are so many democratic countries. You see, for example, in Pakistan, if any minister, any prime minister, ex-prime minister or prime minister, the military, they don't want that fellow, because if that prime minister is taking decisions against the military operations, and they will even ready to kill that fellow. Elimination. Because Pakistan literally ruled by the army generals and army, but only for namesake, for getting IMF funds and World Bank funds and financial support from other different countries. They just say on paper, we are democratic country. They will conduct electioneering process for every 5 years. That is a different story. So power is sometimes involved direct use of forces, almost always also accompanied by the development of ideas, that is ideology, which justify the actions of the powerful people. Take the China example. They wanted to capture the world. They wanted to become number one in the world. So that they wanted to dictate terms to various countries, like Americans were dictating from past several decades. So this is what is happening now. They just gone to the Tibet and they occupied the Tibet. And they say that 1,000 years ago, this Tibet was in our country. It was part and parcel of our country, so that we have all rights to capture it. And now Tibetans are supporting the Indian practices, and they are peaceful people. And Tibet is occupied with the what we call China at gunpoint. Now they are looking for occupying Taiwan at gunpoint. So this what happens, the political system itself in America, in China, they are power monger, and they wanted to what we call expand their boundaries by occupying different countries. Even you can see South China Sea, they are just creating artificial islands, and they are simply saying that this sea belongs to us. It is because they are having military power, they wanted to become powerful and even dictate terms to the world number one America, so that they can become number one. So these are just ideology. Their ideology is expansionist ideology. Politics in this sense is a concept that can be defined as a process involving the exercise of control, constraint, and coercion in society. This is what exactly happening in and around China today. Even you see, the China is far away from this place, and it is controlling various island nations today. The Solomon Islands or some island country, I'm not sure whether it is Solomon Islands or some other island. There were close tie-ups with Taiwan earlier, and China came down and they wanted to influence the country. So the people are Solomon Islands, exactly right. The people are shouting and just posting everything on Facebook that this government should get down, and they must not go away from the Taiwan and all. And the Solomon Islands simply, the minister gave the statement recently, we wanted to ban the Facebook because people are talking negative about the government. So these are all coercive measures. Power which is derived from social positioning lacks legitimacy. It is dependent upon individual strength and competencies. Always, you cannot simply depend on the society supporting you as a leader, but that same society may dump that fellow into dustbin if that people are not happy with this leader. So always strength and competencies will help the person to become a leader. And what is the types of powers? Depending upon situation, there are several kinds of power. Like reward power, the extent to which manager can use extrinsic and intrinsic rewards to control other people. So they always look at remunerating various reward systems so that they can control the people. So what happens if the people do not follow the instructions? They will be penalized monetarily. So when a person's pay is affecting negatively, persons may not be interested to take any negative decisions against that leader. Coercive power, the extent to which managers can deny desired rewards or administer punishments to control other people, like issuing warning letters. After, the process will say after 3 warning letters, the fellow may be suspended. So these are all coercive powers used by the manager to control the people. So that is what coercive power. Legitimate power, the extent to which the manager can use subordinates internalized values or beliefs that the boss has a right command. That is what I read in one of my client's office a decade ago. I visited his office as a matter of discussion for the finalizing the accounting reports. And I saw in the first room a board, point 1, boss is always right. Boss is always right. Then whatever boss says, you must listen. And third one, if you feel boss is wrong, go to the point 1. Always boss is right. So this is always they pretend that what I am deciding is right for you and me. That's all. They don't accept any negotiation on that. They don't never accept any dialogue or discussion on those particular things. Exactly, we can take example of the Chinese premier, Chinese government. They never accept any debate or anything. Suppose in Australia, one Chinese origin fellow who settled in Australia, he wrote an article on Chinese bad practices, and it is published on the social media, I think. And the secret agents of China called this fellow, and they threatened that your parents are in China still. We will arrest them and we will kill them if you write all this against China. This is what they take all these kind of opportunities to threaten the people. Expert power is ability to control another person's behavior through the possession of knowledge. When you are dominant with knowledge and experience, you can control the behavior of others. That means you can control the activities and actions of others. Referent power, the ability to control others' behavior because of the person wants to identify with power source. Like you can take, for example, politician's wife try to, suppose it happens in certain cases in Indian provincial level, minister's wife will be dictating terms to the employees under that minister. This is again, they refer their husband and they instruct their subordinates of his or her spouse. Then this is taking undue advantage, because even that person who is going to obey the orders of the wife of the minister, always he will be threatened or he will be thinking a threat from the minister. No way that fellow present there, but they may use that card. So this is kind of referring and using the undue usage of the power. So this is something about power, authority, and responsibility, right? Any questions, please? Hello? Because I'm making it very quickly because, we don't have much time to talk hours together. And second thing is very detailed study guide is given to you, and I hope you are following that study guide very clearly. If you have any questions, please let me know, because we spent how much time? Still we have around 30 minutes time, 15 minutes time, 20 minutes, I think. Sonia, any questions for me?
No question.
Okay. Rini? Rini? Any questions? Hello?
No question.
Okay. So can we look at discussion of other lesson for just 2-3 slides, models of organizational behavior? Is it okay for you? Just few more minutes. If okay, we'll take up that. Otherwise, we'll take tomorrow. Please let me know.
Yes.
Can we discuss for a few minutes? Please respond to my message.
Yes, Prof, we can discuss.
Okay, I'm sharing another lesson, because tomorrow we can have a winding up of discussion after discussing another lesson. Okay. So what are the models of organizational behavior? Because it is undergraduate level and diploma level, we are not going in depth of the topics. We are discussing on the introductory level. That is the reason why our lessons are completing quickly. So organizational behavior is the study of human behavior in organizations, the interface between the human behavior and organization, and the internal and external environment of the organization. These all are talked about in the organizational behavior. What are the models? Models are the techniques which help us to understand complex things in ideas in a clear manner. The behavioral models normally are frameworks or possible explanations. Why do people behave in as they do at work? So this is very important and interesting point here, because different people differently behave at workplace, and the reasons for that different behavior, how that behave as they do at work. There are so many models as many as organizations. Varying results across the organizations are substantially caused by differences in the models of organizational behavior. All the models of organizational behavior are broadly classified into 4: autocratic model, custodial, supportive, and collegial. Autocratic, the word itself is indicating autocratic. That means almost a leader must, that leader always looks at do what I say type leaders. The basis of this model is the power of the boss. bossman or bossmare. Max Weber identified power as the probability that one actor within a social relationship will be in a position to carry out his own will despite resistance. So whatever the resistance come from outside, they don't bother about it. They just wanted to do what they want. That's all. In North Korea, example, or China or Russia, even bit Russia is a different, a little bit different when compared to North Korea and China, because North Korea, even you must have heard so many stories. If suppose anybody visits, anybody from anywhere in the world visits North Korea, they must behave in a different, in a specific condition stated. And in North Korea, in every home, if suppose I am not sure whether they are followers of Christianity, I don't know, but every home, whether you have Jesus Christ photo or not, they don't bother if they are Christian country. I'm not sure about that, whatever they follow, but the king's photo must be there in the home. And every restaurant and every lodge in the hotels, in every room, there must be a photo of the king or current king of the North Korea. And if anybody tears up that photo, that fellow will be imprisoned for 10 years or so. So these are what we can say autocrat. Just they crush the opponents and anybody who talk against the policy of the government, and likewise in the same organizations also, what bossman says, if anybody says no, or if anybody argues, that bossman may be showing his power to punish that fellow. That is what autocratic leadership. That is what normally says, do what I say. That's all. Very simple. Walter Nord defines power as the ability to influence flow of available energy and resources towards certain goals as opposed to other goals. So always they look for their anticipated goals, not the goals in the interest of the people. Just go through the page number 61 to 62 in the study guide on the autocratic model. The custodial model, to overcome the shortcomings of the autocratic model, the custodial model came into existence. The insecurity and frustration felt by the workers under the autocratic model sometimes led to aggression, that means revolution, towards the boss and their families. And even sometimes, in Japan, there are certain companies where some managers may be very coercive towards the employees, and certain companies, they have a particular room, that is what we call rest room, like in the organizations, napping rooms we can find. And they also provided one specific room where they make a plastic idol of the bossman or bossmary. These employees may be allowed into the room. They can kick this idol as much as they angry, so that their angriness will be went out. This is introduced 5-6 years ago, or even more than that, so that they bash that idol and they feel that, okay, I kicked the boss. Psychological went out. So custodial normally is always take the both into the same contents. And so in the custodial model, the leader always defined as a custodian of the interests of all the people in the organization. We just again go through this 62 page and say 62 and 63 for custodial model. The supportive model, this model has originated from the principles of supportive relationships according to Rensin Likert. Likert is a management thinker. The leadership and the other processes of the organization must be such as to ensure a maximum probability that in all interactions and all relationships with the organization, each member will, in the light of his background, values and expectations, view the experiences as supportive. Experience always support them to take wise decision, and one which builds and maintains his sense of personal worth and importance. That is a supportive model. You don't take hasty decisions, and you don't need to be autocratic. You must be always supportive to the various sections of the people and functions of the organization with experience. The collegial model. The model is an extension of the supportive model. The dictionary meaning of collegial is a body of persons having a common purpose. That is what colleagues, right? The people who are working at one place for the same objectives of the organization, we can say colleagues, right? That is what you can have a give and take between the members of the organization. Just you go through the page number 64 for this collegial model. What are the main features of these models? Autocratic, custodial, supportive, and collegial. Basis of model. It is autocratic is power, custodial is economic services, supportive leadership, and collegial partnership. Managerial orientation, authority, money, support, and teamwork. Employee orientation, obedience. Always autocratic leader expects employees must be very obedient and submissive. Yes, boss, that's all. No other words to be uttered. Whatever they say, whatever the leader says, okay, you should say yes, that's all. That is what I told you, one simple example, right? Boss is always right. And custodial, security and benefits, always they look for benefits. And supportive job and performance, and collegial responsible behavior. Employee psychological results, dependence on boss. How boss behaves with me, that way I can perceive and take advantage. Dependence on organization, because how organizations are taking care of the employees. Supportive model will speak about participation, all are together. And in the last collegial one, self-discipline. Employee needs met. Whether employee needs met or not, always in the autocratic model, subsistent. That means there is no such great thing because you must do what your boss man says, that's all. This is secured because a custodial model. Then supportive status and recognition always will be given, and self-actualization is possible in this case. And performance results minimum, because autocratic leadership, under autocratic leadership, at the gunpoint, everybody's performance will be very lower and minimum. Passive cooperation, awkward drives, and moderate enthusiasm. So on the whole, the collegial model of power is always what we call model of behavior is always beneficial for both the organization and employee in the place. There are various other models, right? We can take normative models. That is, the normative models seek to find out that what should be done to produce optimum results. This is what always reason based and logic based. Empirical models, while the normative models are concerned with what should be done, the empirical models describe the activities the employees actually perform, what they are doing actually. Ecological model, no business enterprise can exist in a vacuum. It has to continuously interact with the environment. So all the functions of the organization are affected by the environment as the environment supplies. So how your organization taking care of the ecological balance. Non-ecological models, how not only the non-ecological models, they are opposing the ecological model, whereas the ecological model accepts that the environment is complex and changes keep on taking place. The non-ecological models assume stability in the environment. Everything will remain in the same, right? This model does not help the organizing. This ecological model always helpful because we preserve all ecological boundaries and ecological environment around us. So we stop here. We continue tomorrow at 12 o'clock. If any questions, please let me know or email me. Any questions if you have. Okay. Yes. We have 2 minutes remained. Any questions? So we meet tomorrow at 12, right? Because one more lesson, the last lesson is a little lengthier. I'll just cover on the top of it, and you can read the reading. You go through the reading material, study material properly. And one day gap, that is Friday, you will find some time, and Saturday you can take the quiz. Okay, see you. M. Tassal.
Thank you, Prof. See you.
Okay, see you.